Hey y'all, Halfmilesniper here, and we're on the range today. I've already been shooting. I'll tell you what I was doing. And for the YouTube censor right off the bat, this is not about a home-built gun. This is about rebuilding a gun. So, y'all sit back, kick your feet up, enjoy the ride. So, my main competition gun last year, I may have commented that trigger stud broke. I shot the next match with a broken trigger stud and still won the match. The trigger stud is a very important part, and that's what the trigger pivots on. As luck would have it, I had the trigger stud. And I called a local gunsmith, and they said, yes, we can install the trigger stud for you. So I took my gun to a gunsmith in Westminster, California. Took the gun, took the part, dropped it off with them. Like 2 weeks later, I happened to be back by there, and I asked them, I said, how's my gun going? And they said, well, the gunsmith wasn't comfortable doing the job, so we sent it to Smith & Wesson. So, needless to say, I was a little bit mixed. Number one, because they sent it back to the factory without advising me or even asking me. And number two, because Smith & Wesson, and I can't blame them, I mean, their lawyers tell them they probably have to, modified guns are usually deemed unsafe. So, there's been plenty of history where Smith & Wesson either has not returned the gun and sent a comparable gun back because the modified gun is unsafe, or they just, it's frustrating. Next morning I called Smith & Wesson, called the factory, said, here's the deal. Took my gun to the gunsmith to have this work done. They decided they couldn't do it, and they sent it to y'all. This is the gunsmith name. This is my gun's serial number. What's up? And they said, well, we received it, and we don't work on revolvers here in Tennessee. We sent it to the shop in Springfield, Massachusetts. And got on the computer and clickety click, click, click. Says, yep, they've received it, and they haven't started working on it yet. I said, good, here's the problem. It's my main competition gun. It's a highly modified gun. And I know what y'all's policy is on modified guns, and I do not want a new production Model 10 sent back, and I do not want all my expensive gunsmith parts and work destroyed. I want my gun. And customer service said, well, what are the modifications? And I gave him the whole laundry list of what the modifications were, and he goes, I see. When I reiterated that was my main comp gun, he said, I will authorize the factory to return the gun to you if they can't do the work. Needless to say, like 5 months later, the gun came back to me with a note that said, modified beyond factory specifications, no part available. And that's what ticked me off, because that part right there was available because it was rubber banded to the grip. It was with the gun. So, the gunsmith who built my gun has long retired. The gunsmith that I knew and shot with in Michigan when I was in Michigan, and who built my wife's competition gun, has since retired. Mark Novak, who has done this job on his personal Model 29, had no contact information. I was able to get a hold of the gunsmith in Michigan. I said, I know you're retired, Mojo, and here's the deal. Do you know anybody who does the work? And he said, well, there's somebody in Arizona, I think. Well, the only person I could think of in Arizona at the time was Clark. So I called Clark Custom, talked to the old man, said, hey, this is who I am, this is who I shoot for, and here's what's up with my gun. And nobody will work on it. Or nobody can work on it because they all retired. And Mr. Clark said, my advice is buy another Model 10 and just move your parts from one gun to the other. So that's what I did. So I found a donor Model 10, and what I did was I removed all the goodies from my original Model 10, and you can see where that broken trigger stud was. Well, maybe you can't in this light, but trigger stud should have been right about in there, and it's gone. It's actually here in the bag right there. It was stuck in the trigger. So I took all the goodies from that Model 10 and I moved them to this Model 10. Fortunately, I have the ability and the tools to do it. So I moved the barrel into this Model 10, I moved the sight to this Model 10, moved all the internals into this Model 10. And then, for giggles, I took the original crane and cylinder from that Model 10 and put it in this Model 10, and it's working just fine. It's timing correctly, and the only thing I had to do was, because that arm has a detent ball, is I had to, I don't know if we're going to be able to get the light right. I'm trying. I don't know if it's going to show, but there is a divot right up there in the bottom of the barrel lug that mates up to that. So today's work on the range was I shot this gun to see how it's shooting and to see how far off the sights were. So it worked out pretty well. I ended up having to go 2 clicks down and 6 clicks right. And that worked for all my yard lines. 7, 15, 25, and 50. In fact, my first group from the 50 was 5 X's and a 6 o'clock 9 because the first shot I dipped the barrel. But that was me. So the gun works. It's no longer just a Bob Jones gun. Now it's a Bob Jones Halfmilesniper gun. And I think I'm going to shoot it at the next match. The old man Clark, thank you for the advice. For me, it was an easy job. Other people, it may not be quite so easy. You might have to go to a gunsmith if you don't have the tools or the know-how. But the gun's shooting well. I'm pleased. And as luck would have it, you know, I didn't realize it, didn't know it, but apparently old man Clark from Clark Customs might be Jerry Micklick's father-in-law, because it's Lena's grandpa, so I understand. Small world. So that's it, just a short video on my main comp gun that I rebuilt. Nice close-up look for you. It's a Smith & Wesson Model 10 with a, I believe it's a Douglas barrel that Bob Jones put on there, an Aristocrat sight, and one very smooth light double action trigger pull, and it locks up real tight right at the end, so it's almost like shooting single action. It's a sweet shooting gun. And with the Aristocrat sight, I have the ability to change my sight for center hold at 7, 15, and 25. Dial it to number 2 and it's neck hold at 25. Dial it to number 3 and it's neck hold at the 50. And if you have one of these Aristocrat sights, you always park it at position 2. That way there you don't break anything. Should the gun get dropped in the box, and guaranteed you drop a gun, they always land on the sights. And 90% of the time on the rear sight, and they break something. So there's lots of shooting going on today. Got people practicing for a pistol match on one bay, people working, sounds like, with a rifle on the other bay. It's a little bit loud. Like I said, just a quick video on my main comp gun. And I hope y'all enjoy that. I appreciate y'all hanging with me. As always, Halfmilesniper reminding y'all, carry everywhere you can. Get a CCW if you need one. If you're in a constitutional carry state, no reason not to be carrying. Get a CCW anyways. You never know, you might travel. I'm fixing to, and I'm probably going to bring y'all along for that, because it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to call this one short and cut it short and let y'all know. Just a reminder, y'all stay safe, keep shooting. We'll catch you next time.
Send it. Hit.